Thank you everyone for coming along to my session. Now today I did have my little remote going and I was going to slide through that to keep me prompted what's going on, but now I have absolutely no idea. I can't have my pretext, but that's okay. I'm going to talk to everyone about SOBIPro and how we're actually using SOBIPro in a little bit of a different application compared to what most people might be used to using SOBIPro for. SOBIPro has been around for a long time, and the most regular usage of SOBIPro is as a business directory. So whether you're doing a local business directory somewhere, collecting business data, address book style things, or eco listings, which what I used SOBIPro for the very first time back in the day. I was running a eco website and I was getting eco listings. So people would come onto the website, register an account, and then submit a business listing that was kind of eco-centric. So that's the primary usage of SOBIPro. But recently we've been getting a few new clients, or a couple of old ones as well, that have complex data sets. And what we're using SOBIPro for is for its custom fields ability to collect that data sets and display it in unique ways. Now, I actually use other content management systems other than Joomla as well. I actually use WordPress and Drupal, and good, no one's throwing anything at me. That's good. Yeah, I'm still alive. Yeah, water's coming. So I actually use a couple of these other ones as well, and I actually love one of WordPress's features in that you can create custom fields, and this custom field data you can display in any way possible. One of our clients, when we were working with WordPress for her, she would enter in her title of a text and then the body copy or the intro of her articles, but then underneath we could put in a special custom field that would be price, and then another custom field which would be the PayPal URL. And all she'd have to do is copy these things from the PayPal website and enter in a price, and then our template would collect all those custom fields and display it in the right way to create a PayPal checkout button. And that was the simplest way that we could create a shopping cart for her particular process, which I won't go into, but you can talk to me about it after. It was a complete nightmare. So these are some thingy whatsits, so you can follow me. If you want to follow me, Astro Boy Soup, I can tell you a little story about that later too. Okay. So, yeah, I'd skip some slides. See, this is what happens when I don't have my thingy sliding thing. So SOBIPro has been around for a very long time. We were using it back in the day when it was SOBI 2. That was around Joomla 1.5, so maybe 2007, and it's progressed and grown into SOBIPro, and is now 2.5 ready as well. There are some moves to make 3 ready, which is actually really exciting. It's going to be nice and responsive. But we move on. In the past, other presentations, you may have heard me harp on about K2. I absolutely love K2. We still use K2 in almost all of our Joomla builds. Who here uses K2? About a third, maybe even less. It's basically a content construction kit that allows you to display information that you enter into Joomla in multiple different ways. So you have your regular Joomla content editor where you have your intro and full body text, but also has some other extra features in there, such as images, image galleries, video galleries, and also extra fields. If you noticed where's Jennifer here? Yep. What was that WaterSmart thing? Smartwater.com.au. That used K2 and some extra fields, and you can click across the tabs and see all the different data that the users would enter in. So we absolutely love that in the terms of flexibility of what the users could enter in. So along came a client. So this is a story I'd like to share with you. A little bit of a nightmare story, but a good one that we learned from. So this client came along, and it was an absolute mess of a site. He had quite a huge problem, and his number one problem was that he hated Joomla. Absolutely hated it with a passion. We looked at his site, and it was a complete mess. We were looking at the article managers, and whoever put it together was putting tables inside tables to align images and text, and had all sorts of weird code in it. Understandably, he would hate Joomla. He's used other systems and go, look, Pete, this is a complete mess. I hate this content management system. We're stuck with it now. Help me out here. So, okay, let's see what we could do. The first option was to clean up those tables, and give them a nice, consistent, formatted layout across his website. Now, if anyone else saw what we were doing, I'm pretty sure they would have castrated us for what we were proposing. So that wasn't going to happen. We weren't going to use tables for layouts. Tables should be used for tabulated data. So what was the other options? Oh yeah, it was causing him big stress. Absolutely hated it. So we were coming up with some ideas. So we had the problem, and we're coming up with the ideas to try and resolve this. So our first idea was to use K2 extra fields. Now I know with the extra fields, it was a little bit limited in how we can actually display this information. We wrote a little loop that would go through each one of the extra fields and store it as a variable. And then with those variables, we could paste it all over the different template layouts. And, you know, that was an option, but it was a little bit complicated. And if you move the content around, you'd lose your extra fields. It's a little bit of a nightmare for us to manage as well. So K2 wasn't really an option for us in this circumstance. So we thought back to some other projects that we worked on. Now this is a local market guide in Sydney. It's called Local Market Guide. And what she does is collects all the information about the markets around Sydney and displays them accordingly. So people can go, oh yeah, there's a market on at this particular day. They can search by, you know, the different types of markets, different times that they're open, and you know, discover what's on and explore the market scene in Sydney. But when we were building this site, I remembered, that's right, all of those fields that should enter in the back end of the website, we actually customized and displayed in different ways. So you can see the opening times we put in bold, opening days we put in bold. We aligned the images and set them at a specific size. So I was thinking, all right, okay, we've got a bit of control here. We can set up a form of custom fields that the user, all she had to do as a manager was enter in, fill in the form, and we could display it any way we wanted. So I was thinking, all right, this could possibly be an option for this other client. And we proposed the idea to him. And we told him, SOBIPro. SOBIPro is the way to go. We played around with a couple of the custom fields, started with some of the layouts. It was turning out to be a really cool solution. So we have the problem, idea, and then the solution. So we come up with that. What was the solution? We collated all of his fields and information sets, which was absolutely massive, and I'll actually show you that in a minute, and how we managed it. Next bit. And then we went into the data entry stage of the website. So we set up all of his fields in the back end of SOBIPro, and then gave it over to him. He started entering his fields, so you can see the different categories that you can enter in, the title, taglines for each one of the fields, intro text, image path, and it keeps on going on and on and on. Now, this is why we needed a way to manage this complex data set, because he was entering in all this information manually and not getting consistency across his website. Every single page on his website had similar information, but all looked completely different. So this is a website here. Does anyone do backpacking? Okay, well, no one's ever seen this website, have they? All right, okay. All right, okay. So what this SOBIPro enabled us to do was store these custom values in the back end of the website. Does the mouse work? Of course not. Store the custom data in the back end and then just let us display it any way we want. The number 39 there in the top band was just the value that he entered in. All the rest around it is all displayed with CSS and images. Same with the quick quote, email, and call us. They only appear if the user wanted them to appear. So there are switches in the back end where he can just turn them on or off. So each one of these items or entries that he's doing, he can just switch on and off, and depending on if it needs it or not, you can choose to. This here is more of an entry page. So when you click on one of the vans, you get to see all the complex data and a consistent layout across the website. So again, you have the value, you have the quick quotes, the call to action buttons, an image gallery which you could pull in through SOBIPro, and all that text and data in the center column in the content pane is all coming from Sobi. Again, we're just scrolling down the screen and you can see more of the complex data set and more of the complex data sets and more of the information. Now, the other important thing was that he had multiple categories to do this sort of information in. So we could duplicate what we're doing and separate it into different field sets. So we had rental cars, we had sales cars, we had locations, we had staff, which were all built into SOBIPro. So a lot of different type of data sets, a lot of complex information that you wanted to store, but we could all do it in one component. Cool. The other cool thing about it was that it was all searchable. So all of the content that we're entering in was indexable by what do you call it, the Joomla search. So when a user types something in, they can search all these particular fields throughout the component. And I should probably show you a little demo now. Click. Had some demo music. Because I knew it wouldn't load. You know, while things load, you might as well have a little bit of music. Yeah, but there's supposed to be a little cable that I can plug things into. I will improvise. And why isn't this loading? I need a tech. Is there a different network? I know. Try another screen. Sure is. Wouldn't it be funny if the website's down? Yeah. Server's down. Oh, there we go. All right, cool. Stop my demo music. So this is the website that we inherited. We didn't design this one, but what we did do was all the SOBI areas. So this is a site. It's, you can scroll through the cars. It's, like I said, all neat, uniform. Question? No? Cool. It's all nice and uniform, and when I click into one of the camper vans, you can see it a little bit clearer. These should work. Fingers crossed. I haven't done this in a while. Something's up with that. Okay. There's videos and all that information which I was talking about before as well. Okay. The quick quote interacts with their quoting and booking system, so it takes them off. So nothing to do with SOBIPro at all. The SOBIPro was more of the brochure and sales pages, so you know users can browse the different bits of information and then make a choice. Directory. Yeah. Directory, but more so content pages than anything else. $10 points for anyone that can see my presentation. I'll get to that. All right. So success. So the client was happy. We gave him the site and said, look, this is what you do. Enter in all your information and it will appear exactly how we designed it. And he absolutely loved it. Now, we love Joomla, he loves Joomla, so together we've created a better atmosphere for everyone. Now, in doing this, what kind of results we were getting? We increased their conversion rate by a huge amount. In the first, in that month after we released the website, they managed to meet their sales target for that month within the first weekend of launching the website. So you can imagine I can't say numbers, but during that weekend, they were expecting, such and such sales. They managed to meet their targets on that weekend alone. So that month, they quadrupled their sales for that month just because their conversion rate was so much better. If I still had a preview or a screenshot of the old site, you could kind of understand the huge difference that it made, and then you'd see why. They're spending a huge amount of money on Google AdWords. They're still getting a good return, but being able to actually have a consistent look and feel and have consistent call to action buttons increase that conversion rate to increase their bottom line. Yes, quadrupled. So we have the problem, idea, success, solution, and success. So I call that PISS. That's how I solve a lot of my problems. You get it now? Yeah. Did anyone get it as it was growing? Yeah? Okay, cool. All right, good. Now, downsides. There are a couple of downsides to, yeah, I know, Fever. I actually really like one of his latest songs. Yeah, I know. The other night I was doing quotes about 3:30 in the morning, drinking Red Bull and, fully buzzing out. And the last thing I had in my head was his newest song. So I was, yeah, Beauty and a Beat. Yep. I could play it for everyone if you want. But I was going to bed at 4 a.m. Just before I was coming here on Friday morning, and I had that song in my head, and it was driving me nuts. Downsides, okay, templating in SOBIPro is a little bit of a learning curve. From SOBI 2, it was all in PHP, and that was fine. PHP is good. We all understand PHP. We can do a Joomla template. We can do a SOBI... No, you couldn't? Okay. I worked it out. But I'll give you some pointers if you're doing a SOBI 2 one. But SOBIPro, they went to this XSL thing. Now, that was very strict in its formatting and very strict in how you do things. It was a steep learning curve in terms of getting your head around how to do that. There isn't much documentation out there either, but the stuff that you can find is actually pretty good. And what you need to search for is actually XSL tutorials and not SOBIPro templating tutorials. And once you know the basics... I should. Well, it's cleaner. Once I've gotten used to it, it is cleaner. It's a little bit more powerful in some of the logic that you can do. Yes, it's another thing you have to learn, though. It's downside. Beaver effect. Yep. So that was a little bit of a downside. There's a lot of other templates out there that we had to grab. And we pulled apart those templates. Yep. Or the middle bit. Sorry? Or the middle bit is, yeah. Basically all the data in... So you basically need a developer to do that? Yeah. There's no way you can hand that off to them? Hell no. All of this information that I'm highlighting right here is all in XSL. And being spat out. So XSL, CSS, and yeah, so steep learning curve. It's only I guess, a developer kind of solution. But passing it on to the client in the end is a good benefit. Oh, that's what I was supposed to do. I'm supposed to show you the back end. Yes, please, I can't wait. Yes. So with all this stuff on SOBIPro, you can actually edit the stuff from the front end. So you can create access on the front end, log into the front, and the user will be shown the form to fill in. They can go to this page and click edit in the top right-hand corner and do all the front-end editing. So, that's a nice plus. I haven't got it enabled for this website. But maybe on the demo site of SOBIPro, I can do that. More demo music. Ah. If RS Firewall is on the side there, it's showing me all the potential hack attempts. If you're not using RS Firewall yet, please do, because it's blocking all this remote file inclusion since yesterday. Yesterday? I don't know, whatever the date is. You can see it happening. It's good. Get it. Rentals. I can kill the music now. Okay, so now I'm in the rentals section of SOBIPro. I'll just go to all entries. So these are the entries. These are the rental cars that the clients added into the website. I'll just zoom in a little bit. So anyone got a preference? Chubby it is. All right. So this entry form is a little bit daunting because the client has so much information. But what's going on here is that the client's choosing the category to place the entry into, giving it a nice title, which we can search engine optimize with heading tags. Yes, yes you can. Yeah, so you can have it in all over the place. The video site that I was demonstrating yesterday had all their video entries in different categories. So it might be a documentary, but also might be a food and lifestyle as well. So it was in multiple categories. So we got a tagline, we got the price, like I was saying. So he didn't actually even have to enter in a number. We just gave him a list of sale prices that he would know he would always use and just went, yeah, okay, there we go. So he didn't even have to enter that in when the prices changed. We've got the intro copy, we've got the image, which you can upload to the system, and SOBI will resize accordingly to whatever size you want. We have the image path, which I can't remember what was for, but it was for something important, I guess. Oh, that was the galleries. That's the image path of the galleries. And then Simple Image Gallery Pro from JoomlaWorks would grab that image path and create a gallery out of it. We have Vortex. Oh, no, that's a gallery. Sorry, guys, I can't remember what the image path was for. Probably not important. We have the sales value, sale value, all sorts of other information that the client could enter in. If a client doesn't enter in a particular value for a field, it won't appear on the front end. It won't create blank spaces. It will just not appear. On and off switches. Pretty cool. Again, we have the yes, no, and if they click yes, it will appear on the front end. If they click no, it won't appear on the front end. A couple more bits and pieces there, and we're done. So the client entered in all his data within half an hour, and I was like, serious? I thought that would have bought me more time so I could work on the site, but no. It was nice, quick, and effective for our client to just jump in there, copy, paste the data in, do the switches that he needed to do, and voila. Yes, yes. So that same form that you see there, you can click on edit, and it will just pop up. Yep.
So are you saying that the fields for the rentals is different from the fields for another table?
Correct. Yep. So when you set up a section within SOBI, if I go back to the control panel here, how is this internet? So you can see the 3 different sections that we've set up, and the rental section you could see that was very long. If I go into the staff one and go into one of the entries here, go to Atoms, and that's it. Yeah. So not as complex, but with the data sets. Jen? They just wanted a staff category.
What is the content used for?
Oh, it's a staff profile page.
Do you mind on the front end going to the page?
Oh, yeah, sure.
And do your presentation into the actual template in the back end? Because I guess with SOBIPro you've got endless opportunities, but that's where the complexity starts. It's not the definition of field, it's actually the design of the template where you
Yeah.
and crack up the individual declaration and set it up customize.
Yeah, that's right. So each one of the fields that you create in the, I'll just go to the staff page at the same time if I can talk and click. Each one of the fields that you create in the back end that the client was entering in the template when we're creating it, we can make those fields appear anywhere. So all we need to do is get in the back end of the site, look at the field name, whatever it's called, then in our XSL template we apply the classes, we apply the field name out into the output, and then just shove it anywhere we want, according to the designs, of course. So that's the start page. You could have done this in Joomla articles in K2 or whatever, but like I was saying, the client was sick of working within that editor and not getting everything perfect.
Did I understand it correctly? You said that you created a template for the back end as well as
No,
okay.
front end.
On that template, but the way it's structured, I guess that's the way the strength of solving sits in the way they structure the field, you can access it, but the complexity sits in how you probably initially sort of learn to track up your declaration as they come back and so on, so they give you some default solutions. There's not an obvious sort of probably have to study the website to find the right
Yeah.
And I think the difference I might have to add as SOBIPro user is that on SOBIPro was pretty much free. You said it's a plugin, so whenever you wanted, you can go back to the website. It's now subscription based, so the juicy parts of the website you have to go through the subscription, which I must say, given what the contributed editors, it's worth every single cent.
Yeah, so that's the business model.
Yeah, look, and
Yeah.
I totally understand, but that was a sort of a kind of change, but you're not getting to that part of the information for free anymore, which is fine.
Yeah, it's good. The subscription model isn't that expensive either. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. I think it's like 60 euros or 70 euros for 3 or 6 months. Like I was saying, the documentation is a bit lacking. You have to do a little bit of self-learning, but that's okay. I learned pretty quickly. Back to the beaver effects. It depends how you do this, depends how you do your SEO, but I found SEO in SOBI a little bit unflexible in how it works. The default routing system or the default component area in SOBIPro that creates the Ceph URLs, the search engine friendly URLs, wasn't to my liking. I didn't like how it did it, and it didn't play nicely with other Ceph URL components such as sh404 Ceph. We tried another search engine friendly URL component called AceCeph, which had a add-on for SOBIPro. I don't recommend using it because it will kill your server. We had this client on a shared environment and had it in AceCeph and had it in SOBIPro, and the amount of CPU usage that was being done to create the URLs alone was absolutely ridiculous. So if you go down this path, don't use AceCeph. Instead, still use sh404 Ceph, because we've built a little plugin for sh4 Ceph that would work with SOBIPro, and it's really light, it's really quick, and works really nicely. I haven't released that to the world. Someone reminds me, and I'll put it online somewhere. Otherwise, I will forget.
So the pages that are created, are they like cached, like the...
Yeah. So SOBIPro has its own internal caching mechanism as well. So when you're developing the site, you have to turn it off. And when you go live, turn it on, it will cache a lot of the queries. Yeah. One of the other downsides is that SOBIPro does a lot of database queries to get anything done. So you need that caching to cache a lot of that, or else it's going to kill your computer as well. One of the other downsides in terms of the database queries is when you're trying to do a custom module that would do some weird stuff. Again, we had to do it with multiple queries. We could have cleaned it up a little bit and done it all in maybe 1 or 2 queries, but we're doing it in 4 or 5 queries just to pull up a little piece of information. A little bit difficult at times. So, like I was saying, performance issues. So, don't use it with AceCeph. You need caching. You may even need your own VPS, depending on how much traffic you get through the website. In our experience, if you're getting around 20,000 uniques a month and using SOBIPro, make sure it's on its own VPS, because it will chew up a lot of resources. And your hosting company will get rather angry and shut down your site, and then everyone else will get angry, and yeah. VPS. Future of SOBIPro. Radic, as we speak, is working on integrating it into Joomla 3. So I'm hoping by maybe end of this month, end of Feb, we should see beta releases. I think maybe they are beta releases, but we can test it and play around with Joomla 3 and play around with a little bit more of the responsiveness. Now, I can't remember who was telling me, but there is a bug on the front end. Yes, that clicking the front end editing in Joomla 3, yes. So there are some bugs.
It's 2.5. It depends on the template, so it's with the bootstrap template.
That's right.
Template is not SOBIPro.
JavaScript conflicts. And you said it worked perfectly fine on Bees, right? The front-end editing worked perfectly fine on Bees?
Yes, it does.
Yes, so Bootstrap. Yep. Okay. So that's the future. You can see a little bit more of the roadmap and find out more what's going on with SOBIPro at the SOBIPro website, sigsui.net SOBIPro-roadmap. And that's the website there. You may have seen it in your travels or exploration of this component.
Have you used any of the postcode searchy stuff?
Yeah.
How have you found that?
To be desired. It's okay. It works. We used another third-party component module, to do that searching. It did auto location. It was pretty cool, but it was so hard to customize that we couldn't really use it. Yeah. Questions?
How did you choose it over, say, Fabric?
I haven't used Fabric that much myself. From what I've seen of Fabric, it seems okay, but I kind of like this one more. Maybe a benefit with Fabric is that you could manipulate your database tables a little bit more in the information that you play around with. This actually took a bit of work.
Well, I was put off once upon a time by the data structure of SOBI.
Yeah.
As far as I understand this, it seemed logical to me. Could you be just me? How did you find the data structure of the tables?
It works on relationships, so once you figured out what relates to what, I just mapped it out on my desk and went, okay, that goes there, and that ID points to this ID, FID stands for this ID, and I worked it out. It did take a little while to figure out what the structure is, and if I didn't have that piece of paper next to me, I'd forget. Yes, yeah. And creating those custom modules that we had on our other website the other day it took a little bit of time.
So it sounds like it's the same data structure as in SOBI 2.
Maybe. I can't remember. I never hacked into SOBI 2.
But it's probably it's more so with this you've got multiple tables basically, or you've got multiple sections.
Yeah. So
In SOBI 2 you really only have one section in a SOBIPro point of view, and that's it. That's all you have. Whereas this seems to have multiple tables.
yep.
Yeah, because the modular domain is, and that's probably the way you look at it. Formerly, you could only set up one domain, put in there cars and stuff, or layouts, and this was.
Yep. So it gave you more directories to play with. Any more questions? 10 minutes. Finished a little early. Do you want me to play the Bieber song? Yep. And then you.
Not related, but I'd like to know what the quoting system that you've used on that site is.
The quoting system?
Site. You've got that get a quote on the website that you showed us for that client.
Oh, I'll talk to you after about that one. Yep. In the back?
Just with regard to SOBIPro and the logging putting it into just a normal Joomla website, have you looked at that template, what they provide different templates that you could use?
The default one works pretty nice. You can customize that with CSS, but there's also a template shop that makes SOBIPro templates specifically. I think it's called Sobi Templates. It's made by Robert Vining. People know him? Yeah. Yep.
So he specifically sells templates.
Yeah. Specific templates for Sobi itself. He does the Joom Stew podcast. So yeah, that's how one of the templates looks like. So it's a little bit more directory structured in terms of. It all depends on the type of data that you're collecting in. Because if you're collecting in a really custom set of data, you're going to have to create a custom template. There's no way around it. Yep. More questions? All right, Beaver it is. I got one last slide, I think.
Yeah, one more question.
Yeah.
Why didn't your guy use the download upload feature of SOBIPro? I use that for memberships. I had a client who wanted a very complex membership database that she wanted to administer online. And it was easy to do Excel spreadsheet, download, upload,
the import-export thing. Yeah, he could have, but no. The amount of columns that were coming up in the spreadsheet just was a little bit unmanageable for the client. Hang on. It was a lot of fields.
Is that built in, or is that a purchase plugin like it was?
It might have been a purchase plugin. Yeah. At least the bronze. I really can't remember because as soon as I got into it and said, yeah, this is it, I just bought a support package, got access to the documentation, just downloaded everything. Yeah, so that's the path that I went down. My last slide was this. I started a podcast, if you want to listen to it. That's the address. Yeah.
Can you show us a little bit about how SOBI templates are managed at the back end?
Yep, cool. All right, so SOBI templates. If I go back here, it's got a little templating section here, so you can actually administer it from the back end of Joomla as well, or you can use FTP, you can use Git, whatever publishing methods you want to use. Now it takes a little while to figure out where it stores particular files and different layouts, and it calls things really strange things that have been adopted from SOBI 2 and have been progressed on. Now if I go into entry, no, I should go to, let me just expand this stuff so I can see everything. Okay, there's two main template files that you normally would be working with when you're playing with a SOBI template. One of them is the vcard. Now the vcard is essentially, loaded, cool. The vcard is essentially this part of the layout here. If I can highlight it, hopefully you can see that as well. Yeah, it's what you'd call in K2 or Joomla, the article or item within the category blog layouts. So that's the bit that you control there. In terms of the actual full page views or the entry views, you find them, and you can see some of the XSL here. If you're not familiar with it, like I said, it's like, I don't understand what's quite going on. But you work it out eventually. So here you can see that we hard-coded some of the names in, so we got the name value. Under that we have value of select name, so that will output the value of that name field. And if you look further down, oh no, we don't have any switches here. Yep.
XSL, is that a SOBI thing, or is that something that a standard that they adopted from somewhere else?
It's a standard they adopted from somewhere else. It's another web markup language. Yep. Now if I just go to the details view, so this is the output for a general entry, the full entry page. We've turned a couple of things off, such as the menu, the alpha menu that you normally see in directory listings. If we go down further, you might. I really don't like showing code in presentations. Yeah, I really, really don't. But that's the main content area pages. So there's two that you normally will play around with. There's those two pages. It's just familiarizing yourself with the XSL and the CSS that's all around it.
Yeah, but how do I install new template?
Oh, how do you install a new template?
3 minutes.
Okay, I killed that time. With the new templates, what we normally do is in the FTP directory, we just open up, create a new template name, and then we can assign or duplicate one of the existing templates, like the core one, and then we rename that and assign a section to that new template that we just created. So we would copy one of the core ones, which would be called default, for example, and rename that to rental cars, and then when we create a new section, we just assign that to, what do you call it? When we create a new section, we just assign the template to that new section. Yeah. So it doesn't really, the templates don't live in the templates folder of Joomla, they live in the templates folder of SOBI. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And do you optimize the output for mobile devices right now?
At the moment, no, but it's all just CSS. So if we did things in percentages and had media queries and everything, all that middle div should respond and resize accordingly. And like I was saying, everything's being integrated into Bootstrap as we speak as well, so it will pick up all that stuff. So you can use all the Bootstrap goodies. Was there anything else I was going to show? Anything else?
Why you call Astro Boy soup?
Really? Okay. Yeah, I can't believe you don't know. It's not that interesting of a story, but I think 2001 or so, I had this postcard of Astro Boy soup. Of Astro Boy, sorry. An Astro Boy doll looking down at a bowl of alphabet soup. So, you know, when you're young, you're signing up for things on the internet and you're racking your brain out to think of a cool name that isn't like Sexy Bui or something like that. So I'm just looking around my bedroom going, oh, okay, what do? Look, there's Astro Boy, I like Astro Boy, and he's eating soup, so hence Astro Boy soup. And it's stuck. Yep. Yep. Well, there's another one here, so, you know, maybe you have it. Thank you, guys.